The moment we opened that game, my stomach just sank. There was something about the title screen that didn't feel normal. Usually, you get a little eerie music, a flickering menu, maybe a jump scare here or there, but this felt alive, like it was watching us. The shadows on the screen seemed to shift when we blinked. My heart started racing and I could feel it echoing in the quiet room. Then we saw her, the girl, sitting quietly in the corner of the screen, eyes wide and unblinking, like she had been waiting for us. There was something about the way she tilted her head, the almost imperceptible smile, that made the hair on my arms stand on end. I leaned closer, trying to convince myself it was just the animation, but it felt too real, way too real. We laughed nervously at first, trying to brush it off. It's just a game, I told myself, though my voice shook. But every time we moved the mouse or pressed a key, she shifted slightly, following our actions with this eerie precision. And then we noticed it, small details in the room behind her, things that didn't belong, things that didn't make sense. A picture frame upside down, a shadow darting across the floor. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was just clever design, some little trick to mess with our minds. But as the minutes ticked by, the air in the room felt heavier. My stomach churned, my hands were clammy, and the more we stared, the more it felt like she was staring back, really staring right into our souls. Then out of nowhere, we heard it, a faint, almost inaudible giggle, not from the speakers, but from somewhere in the room. My heart stopped, we froze in silence, eyes locked on the screen, trying to figure out if we had imagined it. And that's when the first message appeared, blinking in red text across the black void behind her. Do you like Cartoon Cat as much as I do? We didn't know what to say. Did she mean the game? Did she mean something else? My mind raced, and suddenly, the friendly curiosity we felt just seconds ago twisted into this heavy, chilling dread. Every instinct screamed at us to turn off the game, to run. But something about her eyes held us there, hypnotic and impossible to look away from. And just as we reached for the escape button, she moved, just a twitch at first, barely noticeable. But it was enough to make our hearts leap into our throats. My pulse was pounding in my ears, the room suddenly colder, every shadow sharper. Something told me this wasn't going to end well. But what happened next? That's where everything went wrong. We couldn't tear our eyes away from the screen. The girl stayed in the corner, but now she was moving more, almost like she was alive. Every click we made caused her to react, tilting her head, blinking slower, sometimes grinning in a way that felt wrong. My heart was racing, and I could feel a tight knot forming in my stomach. This felt too real. Then the first real gameplay moment hit. We were exploring this dark, abandoned room in the game, full of flickering lights and shadows that moved just out of the corner of our eyes. The faint sound of Cartoon Cat laughing echoed through the game, low and sinister, like it was right behind us. And the girl, she whispered something barely audible, a voice that made my skin crawl. Do you think he would like me? We froze. I swear we froze in silence for a solid minute, just listening to her voice. It wasn't in our headphones, it was in the room. My palms were sweaty on the mouse, and I couldn't stop glancing around, half expecting to see anyone standing there. As we moved through the game, the environment started changing on its own. Doors that were closed would suddenly swing open. Shadows shifted into shapes that looked like tiny, clawed hands, and every time we passed a corner, the girl was there, closer than before. I couldn't stop thinking about how obsessed she was with Cartoon Cat. Like she wasn't just a part of the game anymore, like she was a fan who wanted him all to herself. We reached a hallway that seemed endless, walls covered in scratch marks, each one looking fresh, like something, or someone, had been clawing their way toward us. The lights flickered faster, and the game's music warped into a slow, twisted melody, And then Cartoon Cat appeared. Just for a second in the distance, his grinning face watching us, silent but menacing. The girl ran toward him, or maybe toward us, it was hard to tell. She started laughing, a high-pitched, eerie laugh that made my teeth ache. I tried to close the game. I had to close the game, but my hands wouldn't obey. I couldn't look away, and then she whispered again, louder this time, "He's mine, all mine." Something about that moment made me realize we weren't playing a game anymore. We were inside her obsession. And whatever was coming next, we were not ready for it. But what happened after that? That's when things got really out of control. By now, we weren't just watching the game, we were part of it. Every shadow, every flicker of light made my stomach twist. The girl was closer than ever, almost reaching out of the screen. Her eyes locked on us like she could see everything. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. The environment changed again. The safe, empty hallways disappeared. Now we were in a twisted version of a house. Walls dripping with some dark, inky substance. Floors creaking under invisible footsteps. And somewhere in the distance, that distorted, hollow laugh of Cartoon Cat echoed, bouncing off the walls, surrounding us. I tried to call out to my friend, but my voice sounded tiny, weak, swallowed by the room. The girl appeared in front of us suddenly, stepping out from the shadows. She wasn't just moving in the game anymore. Her movements were jerky, unnatural, like a puppet being yanked by invisible strings. And then she whispered, just inches from where the screen's glow hit our faces, "You know, I like him more than anyone, more than you." A chill ran down my spine. We froze in silence. My hands shook as I reached for the mouse, trying to move away, trying to escape, but the controls didn't work the way they should. The girl was laughing now, softly at first, then building into something maniacal. Every time we tried to back away, the walls seemed to close in, corners stretching longer, shadows reaching toward us. And then we saw him, Cartoon Cat, or at least a version of him. He appeared at the end of the hallway, impossibly tall, limbs twisting unnaturally. The girl ran toward him, or maybe we ran toward him, and for a moment I couldn't tell where she ended and the game began. The room itself felt alive, like it was breathing around us. We turned a corner, and suddenly everything went black. Silence, not even the game's music, just an empty void. And then the girl's voice, echoing from everywhere at once. "You can't leave, he's mine." My heart was racing. My hands were frozen over the keyboard. Every instinct screamed at us to shut it down, but something kept us glued to the screen. And just when I thought we were trapped for good, something moved behind her, something that wasn't supposed to be there. What happened next? That's when things became truly unstoppable. The darkness swallowed everything. My eyes strained, trying to make out anything on the screen, but it was like the game itself had become a void. And then, slowly, faint whispers started creeping in. Not from the speakers, no. It was in the room, around us, behind us. The girl's voice layered, distorted. "He's coming, and you can't stop me." Then a faint glow appeared at the end of the hallway. A warped, twisted version of Cartoon Cat. His grin stretched impossibly wide, eyes glowing red, limbs contorting in ways that made my stomach churn. And the girl, she ran straight toward him, faster than anything should move. My heart was racing so hard, I felt like it would explode. I couldn't breathe, couldn't blink, couldn't think. Suddenly, the game glitched. The walls rippled like liquid, and the girl's face pressed against the screen as if she wanted to crawl out into the real world. I froze in silence. My hands were shaking uncontrollably, but I couldn't look away. She whispered again, soft and chilling, "You'll never understand, he's mine, all mine." Then Cartoon Cat started moving, slowly at first, then faster. The hallway twisted, corners bending impossibly, the shadows reaching out like claws. Every instinct screamed at me to turn it off, but something inside me wanted to see what would happen next. My heart was racing, every nerve on fire. The girl appeared behind us, or was it in front? I couldn't tell. Every step she took felt deliberate, like she was herding us closer to him. I could hear the faint tapping of her fingers against the screen, each tap echoing like a warning. And then she laughed, that high-pitched, unhinged laugh that made the hair on my arms stand on end. Suddenly, the glow of Cartoon Cat's eyes filled the screen, blinding us for a moment. When our vision cleared, the girl was gone from the corner. And then a message appeared, scribbled in jagged red letters. "Do you think you can leave now? Think again." My hands froze. My heart was pounding. Every instinct told me to shut the game down, but I couldn't, because deep down, I knew the next part was something we weren't prepared for. What happened next? That's when the obsession became terrifyingly real. The screen flickered violently, almost like it was alive, pulsing with every heartbeat in the room. My hands were glued to the keyboard, trembling so much I could barely control the cursor. The girl appeared again, closer than ever, eyes wide and gleaming with this unnatural intensity. My heart was racing. I could feel every beat echoing in my chest. This felt too real. Then Cartoon Cat appeared, looming behind her, massive and impossibly tall, with that twisted grin that seemed to stretch forever. The shadows in the game started moving independently, crawling along the walls, reaching toward us, wrapping around the girl, yet she didn't seem scared. She laughed, this high, chilling sound, almost as if she fed off the terror. I tried to move away, tried to close the game, but the mouse wouldn't respond. The girl leaned forward, pressing her hands against the screen. Or was it through the screen? My stomach dropped. I couldn't tell what was real anymore. She whispered again, "He's mine, do you understand? Mine." The room seemed to spin. The lights flickered, shadows twisting unnaturally across the walls. Cartoon Cat's growl rumbled through the speakers, deep and guttural, vibrating in our bones. And then she reached out, not with her hand, but with this pull, like she was dragging something unseen toward her. My heart felt like it would explode. Every instinct screamed at us to stop, to turn off the game, but my curiosity, and maybe some foolish bravery, kept me glued. The girl moved faster, her laughter overlapping with Cartoon Cat's sinister growls. The walls of the game started closing in, the ceiling bending, shadows swallowing the floor. My palms were sweating, my jaw tight, and I couldn't breathe properly. Then suddenly silence, dead silence. My heart was still racing, but for a split second, nothing happened. And just when we thought we might have a moment to catch our breath, the girl appeared directly in front of the camera. Not in the corner of the screen, not in the game world, but here, in our room, staring at us. Her eyes gleamed with obsession, and she whispered softly, almost tenderly, "You'll never leave, not until I'm done with him." We froze. I couldn't move. My mind screamed at me to turn everything off, to smash the monitor, anything but part of me was trapped watching. And that's when we realized we weren't playing the game anymore. The game was playing us. What happened next? That's where the final twist turned everything upside down. We barely moved for what felt like hours, frozen in front of the screen, hearts pounding like drums. The girl's eyes stayed locked on us, her obsession with Cartoon Cat radiating through the monitor like it could reach into the real world. And then, just as suddenly as it started, she vanished. The screen went black. Silence. I stared at the dark monitor, my hands trembling, trying to convince myself it was over. But every instinct told me it wasn't. The flicker of her smile lingered in my mind. The echo of her laughter bounced around the room. My heart was still racing, and even now, I can feel the weight of that obsession pressing down, like she's still out there somewhere, waiting for the next time we open the game. We tried talking about it afterward, trying to rationalize it, make sense of what we just experienced. But how do you explain a girl who seems alive, obsessed, and terrifyingly devoted to a cartoon monster. You can't, and honestly, part of me doesn't want to. Safe to say, we're never opening that game at night again. But if I'm being honest, a small, terrified part of me is also curious. Curious to see what she would do next. To see how far her obsession really goes. So, yeah, don't try this at home. Don't open the game alone. And definitely don't underestimate a girl who loves cartoon cat this much. Until next time, stay brave, stay curious, and maybe, just maybe, don't open that game.